Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Good morning. Well, our little video about Alan, the Canadian expat that's in trouble, certainly unleashed the whirlwind, didn't it? Right, here's the way that I see it. Someone even suggested that, well, Terence, did you always have income when you came to the Philippines, and do you always have money to meet every emergency? No, I don't. I don't handle my money particularly well at all. But I do have an income that I can live a very modest lifestyle on. If all of this suddenly collapsed, if everybody stopped looking at what I do, what Beth and I do, and if we were unable to help another single soul, we can live quite well. We are not wealthy in any way, nor do we have medical insurance and all of those things that a lot of quite well-off people out there have. And we can still live comfortably. Right, we'll eat, we have a roof over our heads, clothes on our back, and we can send our kids to school and keep them happy. Now, do I have money for every emergency? No, I don't. And I'm not the one that is being judged here. Keep that in mind. Now, what I did to help Alan was I gave him a platform to present his story. Now, look at this. What do? I make videos along with Beth about our life, and this was part of our life. A man turned up at our door on a motorcycle with his then wife and child, as we were told, and he talked to me for about an hour, and I listened. And then Beth said to him, would you agree to us making a video? And you can tell your story. And that's what we did. He told his story and I presented it. I presented it without judgment as to whether it was true or not. It's not for me to judge on any case that comes to our door. I simply tell the story because that story is part of Beth and my life. That's what we do. If we go down the road and we get stuck in the mud, that's part of our life. And we make a video of it and we present it for you. And you can say, well, the man can't drive or doesn't know his arse from his elbow. And you're entitled to that opinion as long as you are nice about it. If you're not nice, then, as you know, we delete it and block you because we're trying to be nice. We're trying to help people, and when people come to us with their problems, which they do, early morning we have many people that come and they need this and they need that, and we try to help. Now, the mainstay of the way that we work is without judgment. Now, listen to that carefully, to those of you who are now judging me and Beth for this man. We work without judgment. I don't judge whether this man is right or wrong when I allow him to present his case to you. Now, am I going along with this story? It's all on the video. It's not something that's hidden. I didn't present his case, then turn the camera off and say to him, get the hell out of here. I told him what I thought. Now, prior to us switching the camera on, I listened to that man for about an hour while he presented his case. Now, according to him, he handed over 57,000 pesos. Now, he didn't hand it over to a clerk at the embassy. He handed it over to a man who took that money and did not give him a receipt. And he said that he later learned, when he did speak to someone else, that he had spoken to the ambassador himself. Listen to that. So we are now led to believe that the ambassador of Canada, the Canadian ambassador, relieved Alan of 57,000 pesos, did not give him a receipt. Now, where is Alan living? Alan is living in a tiny little box. And where is that? It's at the site where people gather to watch other animals kill themselves, right? A cock, it's like a cock, it's an unofficial cockpit. What happens at a cockpit? Oh, now this is no, everybody goes along and they're just going to show their roosters fighting. It's all for fun, isn't it? And there's lots of money that is exchanging hands on the death of one animal on another. Now, what kind of people will be going along to see that? And I'm not judging that either. What I'm saying is that I don't do that. I don't go along there. I don't bet on the life of one animal against another. And I don't agree with it, so I don't go there. Now, part of his story, Alan's story, was that he was attacked. He called it an ambush. He was ambushed by 3 people and knocked to the ground. Knocked to the ground not just once, a couple of times. Finally, and it's a very muddled story, finally the owner of that establishment, whatever it is, there's a little terrace of about 4 or 5 houses that I told you. Houses, they're not houses, they're boxes. They're tiny rooms which are about maybe 8 or 10 feet square. And they've got several families living there. And as they live there, a few yards away, get this, a few yards away, roosters are fighting to the death to the yells and screams of a load of guys. Now, is it possible that they're all sober, upright guys? I suppose it is, but it's not likely, is it? And that's where he is. Now, unless you have misunderstood, let me just recount what this man is now looking for. He has not told us at the beginning that he's married. He's not told us of any of that. But as soon as he starts to talk about anything, it's the world against him. Nothing is his fault. Did he give someone, what was it? What was that original figure? Something in the region of 80,000. Did he then stand back and 3 years later say, oh, what do you mean I don't have my passport and I don't have a visa? I thought you were going to handle that. Well, apparently they did handle it at first, but then he admitted 2.5 years have gone by and he is knowingly out of status. Well, I told him, and maybe you turned the video off before we got to this part, but I told him I can't have my family endangered in any way by association. And I told him, you have got yourself into a ton of shit, and it has to be said. And it didn't happen overnight. He didn't wake up this morning and say, this is a rough place to live, let's get the hell out of here. The next little snippet of information came when, during this ambush, the owner of that establishment, as I started to say, produced a 45. Now, that's not $45 or 45 pesos. It's what Clint Eastwood said was the biggest handgun in the world, and it would blow your head clean off your shoulders. So, do you feel lucky, punk? And he told those people who were ambushing Alan, if I hear that you've touched this guy, I'm gonna shoot you. Now, what you didn't hear Alan say was that he wants to move out. I don't think you heard him say this, but he needs 4,500 pesos, 3,000 for a month deposit on a small studio apartment, and that sounds about right, plus the rest of this month, which would be half, 1,500 pesos. So he needs cash in hand right now, 4,500 pesos. It's not a lot of money. But when you take into account the cockfight, the gambling, the drugs, the booze, all there at the cockpit, believe me, when you take into account that, when you take into account that he's been violently attacked, when you take into account that he is in danger, when you take into account Clint Eastwood's 45, when you take into account that he's asked me, can he borrow my truck, when you take into account that he asked me would I come along and help him move, I would be there with him by association, guilty by association. Now, I'm not going to do that, and that's my right, but I did not judge whether his plea is correct, whether it's right. I allowed you to make your own mind up. Now it's very simple, but we've got one subscriber is going on holding everybody else to task for judging and making up their own opinion. Everybody's entitled to make their own opinion, and as long as they don't cuss and swear, use profanity and nasty language, saying, oh well, this guy is just a fucking turd, as long as they don't do that, they are entitled to do as they say. And anybody who is for this man is entitled to send me whatever they want him to have, and I will not judge the validity of his claim. I will give him whatever I am requested to give him. He needs 100,000 pesos. He needs to be able to go back, according to his story, he needs to be able to go back with a ticket in hand, and the embassy will then approach immigration, sort out the claim that they are likely to have, and he'll be gone. That's the situation that he has given us. He quoted a figure of 130,000 pesos in back visas, in penalties, whatever you want to call them, that immigration is going to require. 130,000 pesos. Work it out. It's about 3,000 per visa renewal, and you need 6 every year. You're entitled to your opinion. You can state it, be nice, and if you want to help him, then do it. I've made my position very clear to him, and I've said, I feel that I don't want to be mixed up in anything that is to do with gambling, with debts, with booze, with drugs, with violence. If you want to judge me for that, then you go ahead and do it. But I'm going to protect my family, and I'm going to make sure that I am not mixed up and in the company of anybody who is violent. I've already got a neighbour that I've told that to, as you may well know, someone with a track record of violence, and I decided I don't want to be with that person the next time he assaults somebody. So the way that I think is very clear and has been stated many times anyway. So you know how I feel, you know how I work, you know what I do, you know what Beth and I work 24/7 at. Yes, 24/7. that's what we do. Right now it's 7 in the morning. We've been fielding comments since about 6 o'clock. And when we go to bed tonight, the sun will have gone down. And we do our job and we love it because we're helping people who are without hope. Not people who have made such a lash up of their lives that they're now being attacked and everything else. So let's put this to rest. You can state your opinion, and there have been, I don't know, I haven't read them all, but I've read quite a few. Some of them are extremely balanced analysis, and I welcome those. Some say, nah, he's a scammer. Some say he's got to be helped. And some are criticizing everybody else for their opinion. Please don't. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. If they're nice, they can say it, and they can have it, and I will respect it. If you think this man is not telling the truth and you say he's lying, then I respect your assessment of the interview that you saw. Bearing in mind, as I say, he talked to us for over an hour, or very close to it, telling us all kinds of stuff. It didn't make me feel good, and remember, I'm a feel-good kind of guy. Thanks for listening. This is A Foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now.